YouTubers, good morning, it's Robb Moffett. Guys, today we're going to be reviewing a air fryer by Magic Chef. The company emailed me several times over a period of a month asking if I'd like to review it, and I said no. I don't like to review stuff that I don't buy or that I don't use, and I don't use an air fryer. And I didn't buy it. I don't like to review stuff that the company gives me because it doesn't seem right. Like, because I usually leave links on Amazon where people can go purchase stuff that I buy, that I do buy and review and like. And if they're just giving this to me for free, it just seems like maybe people aren't going to believe the review. But they asked me again if I'd like the air fryer, and I looked it up, and since I really wasn't that familiar with air fryers, I thought I'd find out what they would do. And like I said, then they emailed me the second time, and so I went online and I found somebody by the name or her channel. Her name's not Booger. I don't know what her name is, but she's one of the nicest ladies on YouTube. She has a channel that's basically it's almost all recipes on air fryer. She's been doing air fryer videos when they first came out. I think she's probably been doing them before they called them air fryers. They probably called them atmospheric food temperature modifiers. She probably told him to change the name to air fryer. Uh, Probably didn't get a lunch for it either. But anyway, yeah, it's gonna be one of those videos, guys. You better hang in there. She's got tons and tons and tons of and fantastic videos on all different ways you can make food. And I said, I think I'm gonna get me one of these things. So I said, you know what? You guys can send me the air fryer, but when I do my reviews, I say what I like about it and I say what I don't like about it. And they said, sure. So they sent it. So this is my review. I'm going to show you a few foods I made with it. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you the reasons I like the air fryer and the reasons I found other people like it because I read several hundred reviews on Amazon, different air fryers, this one too, to see what people like about these things and don't like and try to get a feel for it. I'm also going to tell you the things that I don't like and other people don't like, and also go over a couple of health concerns that I don't think are that big of a problem with the air fryer. So let's get started. When the air fryer came, it's kind of big, but I knew that. But a lot of people were complaining about it. Even though they give the dimensions in the ad, how big it is, they still complain. When it comes, it's a very simple kitchen appliance. You've got one little light that comes on here to tell you that the air fryer is on, and this little light comes on when the heating element comes on. It's actually heating. So this one will fluctuate, come on and off as it heats the food. And I guess I should tell you right now, it's not really a fryer. What it is, it's a convection oven that has a fan that blows hot air all over your food. So there isn't frying in the real sense of the word, but that's what people call it. It's a convection oven with a big fan. The claim to fame with the air fryers is they don't use a lot of oil. And some people say they don't use any oil, but that's not true because I found out you do need a little bit of oil, just a spray, hardly anything worth mentioning if you want to brown certain foods. I learned that and I'll show you what happened to me. Uh, Also, the taste of the things that you fry with it, there's some foods that are bland. If you don't have any oil, a lot of your taste comes from the oil, so you won't have as good taste. But for a lot of things that have good taste, you get a wonderful flavor and you get a crunchy, crispy outer coating that you only get with frying. So it's kind of unique appliance. Um, when it comes, you just got to take the tape off the darn thing. I thought the first thing I would make is everybody's favorite would be French fries. Isn't it chips they call them someplace, I guess, overseas? French fries, I put a little bit of oil. I like to use these yogurt cups to mix up my food when I'm frying stuff because it coats it really well, better than any other thing I've used. I put a little bit of olive oil, and this is what they look like after like 6 or 7 minutes. Um, they had a very nice texture to them. They were very crispy. You couldn't ask for a better feel in your mouth for the texture, the crunchiness of it. But because I didn't use any oil, except for that tiny, tiny bit in the container, it didn't have much of a flavor. I didn't have any salt here. There's no flavoring, so it's kind of bland. But then, like I said, there's no spices and there's not a lot of oil, so all you got is potato, baby. So that's what happened. But I learned my lesson. You should probably put in more seasoning and maybe different, more flavorful oils than I used if you want better French fries that taste better. But you can't ask for any better texture or be more crispy or good looking, I think. So I thought, what's the next thing? I eat a lot of fish. I hardly eat any meat. I usually eat fish or vegetables. And when I make my fish, I don't buy these fancy pants coatings at the store. I just make mine out of Martha White cornmeal. I add some spices to it. I usually use Old Bay and some secrets I can't tell you. You can also use inexpensive breadcrumbs. It works just as well as the old panko, I think. And like I say, I like to put my stuff in the little containers, and then get the fish, the little salmon there, and I marinate it for a little while in some lemon juice to give it nice lemon flavor, and then churn it up in the old cup and put a nice cornmeal coating on it, and I put it in the air fryer and I cooked it. Now you have to cook it for like, or preheat it for 3 minutes. And I did that, and I put it like a temperature of like two something. I didn't want to put too high of a temperature. And I also made up some French fries, put in at the same time. And this time I used coconut oil, but I made a mistake. The French fries were cold, and coconut oil, when it gets cold, it solidifies. So it didn't spread out over the French fries like I was thinking. So I learned another lesson. So I put the fish and the fries in together at the same time, and I cooked for 6 minutes. And I didn't use very high temperature, and this is what it turned out. The French fries probably cook a little longer, but I took them out at that time, and I continued to cook the fish because it's not brown. I'm pretty sure the fish is close to being done by now, but I want to see what happened, how I'm going to get this brown. And that's what the French fries look. They're not bad, but they should be cooked a little longer. While it was cooking, I got out my infrared thermometer and I did some testing to see how hot the outside of the cooker gets. And the highest I got was 149 on the side. You're supposed to put the cooker on a surface that won't heat up, like metal. And I put it on a wood cutting board, and I got like 83, very low temperature. I thought it would be hotter. The reason you don't want it on something that will hold heat is because it will get a heat sink there, not heat sink, but a heat trap, and you'll increase the temperature of your cooker, and you'll mess with your cooking times, and it won't cook right. But also you want to protect your countertops too, so it's good to have it on top of something just in case it does get hot. Um, I did some more testing. The very top was 96, not important. This is the important thing. I gave up after I don't know how many minutes. This is hot as or brown as it got, but it's all my fault. I didn't use any oil. So this is what it looks like if you don't put oil on your coating and if you cook it very long. See, there's no oil here in the pan. Um, so it's edible. You can eat it. It doesn't look too bad, but it's not what you want. That's not what you bought an air fryer for. But it's my fault. I didn't put oil on the fish. You just need to put a little spray. You don't need to coat it. You just need, that's a secret. Just put a little spray. And either can or you can use a pump sprayer. Um, so I said, you know what? Let me try something chicken. I'm famous for cooking my chicken. I don't usually cook it much anymore, but I know how to cook chicken. Uh, I know how to cook my chicken. I get a container of spicy flour, and then I make an egg wash, a little different than everybody else. I use one egg with some milk, and it does make a really eggy coating like some people do. You can use egg whites, but I just make it easy on myself. I put a little bit of milk with the egg and mix it up. And then I use Old Bay seasoning with some cornmeal mix as the final coating. And some extra spices I can't tell you, but they rhyme with celery seed. I love Old Bay. You can use whatever you want. And you want to put your chicken in when it's dry. You want to make sure your chicken is dry. Put it in the flour. Then take it out and put it in the egg wash. And then take it out and let it sit for a little while to drain off. and then you want to put it in the cornmeal. Otherwise, you're going to get big wads of coating. You don't. You just want a layers of the flour and the meal. And I use some olive oil spray this time. And this is what the chicken looks like before it's cooked, after it's gone through the two coatings and the egg wash. And we put it in, cooked it for 360 degrees. I took it for like 11 minutes, then turned it over and cooked it again for another 11 minutes. And this is when I turned it over at 11 minutes on one side. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. It looks perfect. It also tastes perfect as far as the crispy crunch of the outside coating. Unfortunately, the inside was still a little pink, still a little reddish on one part. And there again, I think it was my fault because when I defrosted the chicken, I was in a hurry and I think it was still kind of cold on the inside, maybe too cold. So I was a little bit worried. I cooked it for another 6 minutes at 360, and then I broke it open, cut it into pieces, and it's perfect meat. It's perfect. It's not overcooked. Also, there's no darkness or redness from when you cook chicken and there's blood inside, and when you cook it, it leaves a black mark. There's nothing like that. It was perfect looking chicken. It tastes good, and after I cut it up, I just cut it up to show you the bone and the parts to see that there's no uncooked parts, and the outside isn't too overcooked, and it's not overcooked really. It's just perfect. It's nice and it's crispy like bacon. It's actually when I'm done with this video, I've got 3 pieces of chicken thigh that are been defrosted that I'm gonna cook up for dinner as soon as this video's over. So that tells you something right there. And I don't usually cook chicken. I don't usually eat it. I usually use fish. So that's the name of that tune, guys. You can make some actually a wonderful tasting chicken that doesn't have a lot of oil, that you have a wonderful fresh chicken flavor that's not dominated by the flavors of the oils. So, and this is the oil left over in the pan. Not a lot, but you can see what you would have been eating. Now, here are some pros and cons of the air fryer. This is partly what I like and also what other people have mentioned in some of the reviews I've read. And after I'm done with this, I'll show you the cons. The first pro is great taste. If your food has a good taste, when you cook with this, you're still going to have a great taste. You're not going to have it overpowered by oils and other spices and so on. If you have something that's bland, you're still going to have something that's bland. It just will taste crispy or crunchy or whatever. The second thing, well, if you cook it right, it's very crispy. The next thing, very little oil. The oil's gotten very expensive. The good oils, anyway. If you want to use really good, healthy oils, they're not cheap. So you're saving money by not using a lot of oil with this thing. Number four, it's easy to use. It's. You have a couple lights that tell you what's going on, you temperature control, and a timer. The basket, I'll go over that when you get to the negative part. It's also easy to use. It has a timer that turns off the power when you're done. I think that's very handy if you're forgetful or you don't remember you got something cooking on the stove. It's a larger size air fryer. You can cook more meat than the smaller air fryers that are out there. You don't use as much heat as you would a regular size stove or even a toaster oven. This particular item, it is I think 1700 watts, so it does use a lot of power, but it's not that big, so it doesn't put out that much heat. And it doesn't put out much heat also in the kitchen. Now, I haven't done this yet, but a lot of people are doing it, and it's something I think I would like, and I think that's good about this air fryer is you can fry a lot of vegetables you would not normally cook in a manner that you would fry like carrots or chickpeas and kale and so on. So you would put them in the oven, but I think you can do some interesting things with vegetables you probably can't do as easily or quickly with other appliances. Now here's one. I haven't done it yet myself, but it was interesting. More than a few people mentioned in their reviews on Amazon of different air fryers, they said an unexpected benefit they got was that they were able to reheat foods that ended up tasting better after they reheated them than when they were originally cooked. I think maybe because they dried it out a little bit. Um, many people were claiming that the pizza they put in, excuse me, to reheat were better with the air fryer. So that's something that's pretty interesting. Has very easy cleanup. You just want to make sure you use plain ordinary soap and soft sponge because you don't want to scratch or scrape the coating, the nonstick coating, because it is very thin. And I think you use less power than you would other appliances like a large oven. What about the negatives? The first negative is the handle lock, and the handle itself is clunky. I don't really like it. I found it difficult to open up the handle to take the compartment out from the bottom. Like also when I want to check the food at 10-minute mark, it was difficult to unlock it to pull it back out, and it's kind of clunky to get it back pushed back in. But I think over time using it, it's going to be easier and easier to use. But it's just it's a negative for me. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but it's not something that I can recommend. Uh, the timer. Not a lot of people, more than a few people are very negative about the timer because it's not precise. Uh, it's not. I end up using a $1 electric digital timer from the dollar store, which I've used for years, and it solves any problem with the timer. The main thing I use the timer for is to make sure it goes off when I'm done. If you want to be precise, the manual timer, it's not precise. Another thing about the manual timer, because you have to heat up the air fryer for like 3 minutes, if you try to use a timer for 3 minutes, it doesn't come on. I thought the air fryer was broke because I was adjusting the timer to go 3 minutes and then nothing was happening. You have to actually make it come on for like 6 or 7 minutes before the actual air fryer will start coming on. If you just push the timer on to 3 minutes, nothing happens. It doesn't come on. I mean, it will go off once it gets below 3 minutes and gets to zero, but when you push it to three, nothing happens. But that's not a problem. I just went to five, and uh, it's not a big deal. Also, mechanical timers, they last forever. I have one in my uh, toaster oven that's over 20 years old, and it works fine. It'll probably outlast a digital timer, but a digital timer would be more precise. But I think it's fine. Like I said, get a dollar timer from the dollar store and you'll be fine. The cookbook, it's very colorful, it's very pretty, but out of the dozen or so recipes, I don't think there were too many that I would want to make. And I think they would have been better served by having more recipes with maybe smaller photos. They could have the same amount of pages, just like triple the amount of recipes with smaller photos, and maybe give people more something to look at and think about what to cook from the cookbook. But it's not a big issue. Now, what about health concerns people have about these air fryers? I did some investigation. I'm not sure what they use for the non-coating, if it's Teflon or another type of coating. If it is Teflon, I did some research. In order for the fumes to come off of a Teflon surface, it has to be heated to like 560 degrees. Like you have to have a Teflon coated pan on your skillet that doesn't have any food in it and cook it on high and for the fumes to start coming off. With this particular air fryer, I'm not sure if you'll be able to get to 560 degrees. Excuse me. Pardon me. That's 560 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I did cook with my air fryer in the kitchen with the window open, so there's a draft going out. There's air coming out of the kitchen, exiting outside. So it is being ventilated. And if you're worried about fumes, I would cook this in a ventilated area. Also, to be on the safe side, if it is Teflon, which I'm not sure it is, if you do have any fumes that does come off, such fumes are harmful to pets like birds. People have claimed that they've actually killed birds, so because they're extremely sensitive to the certain chemicals. So I don't think that my food got that hot, or that my air fryer would get that hot, because you're only cooking to 400 here, and you're always going to have food in the basket. But if something was to go wrong, and you did have fumes coming out, I think it would be probably a good idea to have it in a ventilated area. Like I said, I'm not sure it is Teflon coated. It might be something else that they're using that doesn't have this problem. The manufacturer would have to address that. But like I said, I'm not, even if it was Teflon, I'm not worried about it because that's what all the other air fryers I think use just about. Some may use a ceramic coating, but I don't think it's possible or that likely to get to 560 degrees Fahrenheit in the basket to begin with. And you would have to have it completely empty with nothing in there. And it's just, I don't think it's likely with the air because the basket isn't right on top of a heating element like it is on your stove. So I'm going on kind of long here to trying to say the same thing over and over. I don't think it's an issue, but it's something you want to be aware of. And if you have birds, you should be more take more cautions. And like I use a ventilated area anyway. Also, a couple people noticed when they first had their air fryers, when they turned them on, there was an aroma from the air fryer, like a metallic smell or something in their kitchen. So you could do it on your patio or something for like a half an hour or something with some food, just to make sure you got rid of anything. And if it was there, like you wore something that's brand new, well, you might want to cook this one time, just one time to get rid of any aromas or something. But the manufacturer doesn't mention you do that. I just thought that's something, if you're really fussy and worried, that's something you could take a precaution. I'm planning on keeping mine. I'm planning on cooking with mine. And I recommend it as something other people could use too. I just thought I'd bring up, it's a concern people have been talking about. And I thought I'd address all that I know. You Google it yourself and see what you find out. So guys, that's kind of the video. I'll be doing some more cooking videos with this appliance, the Magic Chef Air Fryer. I kind of like it. If the manufacturer gives me a link where you can buy it, I'll leave a link to it in my video description. More than likely, they'll probably give a discount. Not They don't all manufacturers do that, but some do. You may end up getting a discount. You won't be able to find it in my Amazon link or in my Amazon store because I didn't buy this from Amazon, and I won't be having it as any Amazon link where I have it in this video. I do sell stuff on Amazon that I like and review in my other videos. In fact, I have links to my Amazon store that shows you the things that I enjoy and buy over the years. But that's enough about that. Um, you guys, like I said, look for the link if you want to buy this in the video description. And if you have any questions about the video or the air fryer, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. And I'm also going to leave a link to Booger. You see, if you want to know about air fryers, you should probably go. She's a very nice person. She always answers all our comments, and she has a lot of great videos on her channel. I'll leave a link to her site. And don't forget to check out the people I feature on my channel. No relation to me, just people I think are pretty cool. Been doing some neat stuff that could use some more views. And my channel is Robb's Home and Life. I put out new videos every week. Been doing this for 10 years. This is an old page from several years ago. I've got over 15 million views now and about 38,000 subscribers. So that's enough about me, guys. That was the review, very long review for the air fryer. Hope you liked it. Hope you like my videos. Come back, watch more. I put new stuff on every week. You all come back and hope to see you out there.